Welcome back to Main Street Living. Danielle, I gotta say, water is arguably the most precious resource on the planet. Life here without it, we wouldn't be able to survive. But most of us, unfortunately, take water for granted. You just turn on the faucet and there it is.
That's right. And our next guest would like us all to think a little bit more about water and appreciate it in a different way. Please welcome water sommelier and water advocate, Martin Riese. Martin, thank you so much for joining us on Main Street Living.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so happy to be here and to hydrate everybody today.
So Martin, it's actually a funny story. I found you on TikTok because your TikToks are incredible. So I'm already a huge fan. But for people who don't know you, you're a water sommelier. What exactly is that and how do you become one?
Yeah, I think like my parents always ask me, how did you become a water sommelier, Martin? What happened in your life? So I'm from Germany, from the Danish border up north, where the North and Baltic Sea are almost connecting. At the Danish border in Germany. So I had water always surrounding me. And when I was 4 or 5 years old, I realized that the tap water quality tasted in every single city differently to me when I was on vacation time with my parents. And I was fascinating about that. Obviously, as back in the days as a child, I didn't know why water had taste to me. And then I studied a little bit more about water. And in my teens, I got it really interesting in water. And then in 2005, a guest came to me in Berlin and said, Martin, I was working in a restaurant. You have so many different wines, but when it comes to water, you're just serving one brand. And he didn't like the taste of that particular brand. And he thought, what else do you have for me? And I thought, why not offering a water menu? So I started to create water menus. I wrote a book about water, and then it was almost like this classic snowball effect. I became a water sommelier, actually certified in 2010 by the German Water Trade Association.
This is so cool. I've never heard of anybody like you before. I mean, you are definitely very unique. And you said you've written books about water, including one called World of Water. What made you decide to actually take the time and write a book? And give us a little synopsis.
I realized that when I started this whole water menu program in 2005 in Germany, that a lot of people said like, oh, we never saw a water menu. And this is something so unique. And then I realized that we're engaging with water on a daily basis. We all do, because we cannot live without water, but we don't think about it. We just take it for granted. And I thought, you know what? I need to bring more attention to water in general. And the best attention is to write a book, to put all my knowledge, what I have, into a book. It's a German book, so I'm so sorry. You have to speak German or train German first with me to understand my book. But good news, I'm rewriting it right now, and I'm updating it as well for the American consumer. So a new book will come out hopefully this year, and we'll see what the name is. But we want to bring attention to water. The more we know, the better it is.
Well, I mean, it's like you're talking about. We engage with this every day, and it's almost like we take it for granted, right? Because a lot of us don't even want to drink water if we have the option. We'd rather drink something else. So why do you think that most of us don't appreciate water the way that you do?
I think it has something to do literally like what we're doing in the morning. Because the first thing, how we engage with water, our life elixir, without that we wouldn't be here. And pardon my English, we're going to the restroom. So we're putting our stuff, what comes from our body right now, into this liquid, what we actually need to have on a daily basis to survive. Then we're opening our faucet, we're brushing our teeth and not even thinking about it, that 780 million people don't have access to clean and safe drinking water. So I think that is so important to me. And that's the reason why I love the whole idea of water tastings, because then suddenly you realize, oh my God, water has taste. Water has value. Maybe I should start to rethink my use of water as well.
Yeah, I'm glad that you're educating people on this because in so many parts of the world, I know we're seeing this in the desert Southwest in the United States, there's drought and the areas are drying up. They don't have water. They have water restrictions there. So let's talk about that a little bit. How important do you think it is to educate people, not only just there, but also people all around the world who think water is going to last forever and always be there?
Let's face it, we have 325 million trillion gallons of water on this planet. It's a crazy number. We're the blue planet. But what a lot of people don't know, that 97% of that crazy number is actually in the ocean. So we cannot drink ocean water. We all know that. Then from the fresh water, what we could actually drink, 2/3 of this fresh water is trapped in icebergs and glaciers. So we're actually talking about 1% of all water on this planet, what is actually accessible to us for all humans and all animals, because we all know our furry little friends need water too on a daily basis. Then when we're thinking how much water we're actually using on a daily basis, then it's getting actually scary, because the average American person uses around 80 gallons per day in direct water. Indirect water is a different topic. So the indirect water is the water we're using by producing, for example, our shirts, by producing our food. So a cheeseburger, for example, around 660 gallons of water. It's been used to produce one cheeseburger. So I think it's very, very important that we start to literally rethink what we're actually doing with this extremely valuable beverage, what we're calling water.
Yeah. I mean, that's shocking to hear how much goes into just one burger. As you educate people about water, what do you think is the most surprising thing to people when they first hear this?
I think the first surprising thing is, wait, water has taste? I cannot believe that. And due to my water tastings, they can realize suddenly that water has taste, because that's a myth. It's an American myth. Water is not pure. There is no pure water on this planet. Every water has minerals dissolved, and you can measure this by TDS, total dissolved solids. And the more minerals are dissolved in a water, the stronger will taste the water. It's kind of like cooking a soup. No salt, tasteless, little bit salt in your soup, all other flavors will come to life. And when you have too much salt, it's super salty, your soup. This is what Mother Nature does. And that is for me the fascinating part, that you can taste actually where the water is coming from around the world. And you can taste this in that, what it always looks clear, what barely has any odor, but has taste.
Oh my gosh, there's so many more questions we have about water tasting, and we're going to dive into that in a little bit. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be right back with more fascinating water talk with Martin Riese. We'll see you back here on Main Street Living in just a minute. Stay with us. We're going to dive into the details. Welcome back to Main Street Living. We're having a lot of fun today. We are back with Martin Riese, water sommelier and water advocate. So cool. We're learning so much as we are tasting some water, and we're going to dive into the tastings now and learn more about it. So, Martin, one way you are helping people understand water better is with these water tastings that you lead. What is a water tasting event like? I've been to wine tastings, but I've never been to a water tasting.
So first of all, it's very hydrating. Trust me, a water tasting is a very hydrating scenario. The second most important thing is you always need to know where the restrooms are, because when we're drinking so much water, we eventually have to go. So I think that is very, very important. But it's very similar actually to a wine tasting, because when you think about a wine tasting, you have different grapes. You have like a Pinot Noir and a Riesling and a Chardonnay, and you all know that a Riesling from Germany, for example, will taste differently than a Riesling from California. It depends on the terroir. That's a French term. Where the grapes are growing, you can actually taste what kind of minerality these grapes are taking. Water, on the other side, is 100% terroir driven. Because let's face it, it's the water cycle. We all learned this somewhere in high school. So let's start with the ocean. Water evaporates into clouds. The clouds coming over, hopefully sometimes to Los Angeles as well, because we need way more rain over here. We're in a big drought, so please save everybody water. We need more rain. So rain comes down, and at this moment, this rain hits the different soils. And the different soils have different minerality. So it passes through the different stone layers. Water is a universal solvent. It will take these minerals with them, and at one point it will hopefully come up of the natural occurring spring source, and then you can actually taste the difference between a water from an area where they had maybe volcanic reactions back in the days versus a water where they had like limestones. And that's the fascinating part. It all depends on the different mineralities, and these minerals are actually very, very important for your life being, because we all need to know that electrolytes are important. We need calcium, we need sodium, we need magnesium. Mostly we're getting from our food, but water can actually have a good impact on your health as well.
So Martin, I'm going to ask you a question that I actually know the answer to, because like I said, I'm an advocate of your TikTok, but pH balanced water. Is that a thing or not a thing?
It's a marketing thing, let's say it like that. And let's face it, when it comes to bottled water in America, there's two big parts of bottled water. When you're going to the grocery store, it can be very overwhelming these days because you see like 50 or 60 different brands. And you're like, oh my God, what shall I buy? So it's very simple, actually. You're going to the store, you look at the labels. Do not care about the brand. The brand is just the advertisement. Don't care about the brand. Look at the label and look where the source of the water is. And when the source is spring water, it says the name already. That means it comes from a natural occurring source. So that means that water actually comes from nature. And the minerals are dissolved by nature. The electrolytes are dissolved by nature. When it says purified water or vapor distilled or distilled water, that means most of these brands are using actually municipal source water. They're using your tap. It's tap water, filtered, infused with maybe small little minerals and electrolytes in a very small amounts and selling it for a high price. In my personal opinion, as a water sommelier, biggest scam on planet Earth. That is for me a scam. To sell people tap water, what they could actually create by themselves at home. That's for me crazy. So they don't have really a nice story to tell because nobody wants to hear, oh, we're selling you tap water. So they came up with this idea of pH. Oh my God, alkaline water. That sounds amazing. And that sounds great that acidic water is bad for you and alkaline water on a higher range is great for you. Sounds amazing. But every doctor will smile at you and say, maybe you haven't paid attention in biology class, because let's face it, where does water go when we're drinking it? First to our mouth, then to our stomach. Our stomach is very, very acidic, needs to be acidic to break down our nutritions and to kill bacteria, actually. So our stomach acidity is 1.5 to 3.5. It doesn't matter what kind of high pH you're drinking, it will go acidic in your stomach.
Wow. Okay. So that leads me to this question. And so we bought a water distiller for our house that distills our tap water. Did we waste our money or is that doing us any good?
No, I think actually by buying something what you have at home, you will save on so much waste. So I think it's actually the right thing to do, a reverse osmosis system or maybe a distilling version. The only thing, obviously, when you're distilling water, you're pretty much boiling up water, you're collecting the steam. That is what distill mean. That means you're stripping out all the bad and the good stuff. So there's no more minerals dissolved. So for me as a water sommelier, I like just minerals. I think water should come from a natural occurring source. I would, but that's again, my personal decision, go more for spring water. But when you want to use a filter system, use the stuff what you have, but maybe you want to buy yourself a little mineral supplements or have a good diet with a lot of vegetables, a lot of vitamins, a lot of fruits, and then you're good to go.
Oh, good to know.
Yes. And we know that beyond the water tasting where you get to teach people about different nuances of the water, you're also just a big advocate for making sure that people all over the planet have access to clean water. So how did you kind of tie those two passions together?
I think it's eventual that when you are so passionate about water, you have to be passionate that every person needs to have access to clean and safe drinking water. And for me, it's a human right. Not everybody actually agrees on me on this planet that water is a human right. I clearly believe that water is a human right and we should have access to clean and safe drinking water for everybody on this planet. And it can start with little things in your daily basis. For example, when you have medication, you take medication and there's sometimes an expiration date on it, you find medication what is not good anymore, please bring it back to the pharmacy and they can dispose it in the right way. But do not flush them down the toilet. It will affect our water table. So that's very, very important. Don't use your toilet as a waste bin. That's like, I know a lot of people always dumping everything into the toilet. It's very, very hard to get rid of all this waste. So please do not do this. And then literally like what I think is even more important, we as human beings sure have an impact on nature, but corporations have a way bigger impact. So we as humans need to talk to our corporations and say, so what are you doing actually to be sustainable? What are you doing to make sure others have clean and safe drinking water? Maybe as a water company, are you helping others to gain access of clean and safe drinking water when you're already in that business? And we can do this by TikTok, by Instagram, by Facebook, to just send the messages that everybody can see it, that everybody can see that you're doing your part, and that the corporation, trust me, when there's suddenly thousands of people asking them, are you sustainable? Trust me, they're gonna be sustainable at one point. They need
Ah,
you.
wow, we share a passion here. Yeah, I'm a meteorologist, so climate change and water conservation, sustainability is near and dear to my heart. So thank you so much for everything you're doing with water and educating people. And Danielle, I think we should have him back on later this
We need
summer.
to do a
And we're gonna
tasting
be
because I have no idea what I'm drinking here.
yes.
I
I want to see what the process is actually like and how many we taste. So stay tuned for that. We'll have you back on Main Street Living.
Thank you. Cheers, my friends. And remember, water is not just water.
Thank you, Martin.
Thanks.
Yes.
All right, well, we're going to keep the good times going since we're already cheersing, Cheryl. We're going to celebrate Pride Month next with an incredible artist. You don't want to miss it.